In today's world of constant distractions, maintaining deep focus isn't just a skill, it's a superpower. But this ability isn't something you're born with. It's something you train. Just like a warrior sharpens their sword, you must train your mind to cut through chaos. I am a neuroscientist and professor of neurobiology at Stanford School of Medicine. And in this talk, we're diving into the science-backed tools that can help you develop laser-sharp focus, not just for minutes or hours, but for a lifetime. You'll learn how specific breathing techniques, visual anchoring, neurochemical resets, and environmental designs can literally rewire your brain for clarity and discipline. Whether you're chasing academic excellence, athletic performance, or personal growth, these are the tools that win the inner war. Focus is not simply a matter of willpower, it's rooted deeply in how the brain processes information. At the core of this ability lies a system of neural circuits that determine what we pay attention to and what we ignore. One of the most critical players in this system is the prefrontal cortex, which acts like a command center, guiding attention, decision making, and goal-directed behavior. When we talk about focus, we are actually referring to the brain's capacity to filter out irrelevant stimuli and highlight the most important task at hand. This filtering process is heavily influenced by neurochemicals like norepinephrine and acetylcholine, which act as spotlighting agents, enhancing the signal to noise ratio within the brain. When these chemicals are released in the right amount, they allow us to lock in on a specific task with clarity and intensity. However, when they are imbalanced, either too high or too low, they can lead to restlessness, distraction, or mental fatigue. Modern life bombards the brain with constant inputs, notifications, sounds, conversations, visual clutter, and the brain must decide moment by moment what deserves attention. This decision is influenced not only by internal states like motivation or stress, but also by external cues that grab our sensory systems. For example, rapid changes in sound or motion naturally draw our attention because the brain is wired for survival, constantly scanning the environment for threats. This survival mechanism, though useful in danger, works against us in focus-demanding situations like studying, working, or strategizing. The key, then, lies in learning how to consciously override the brain's automatic responses by creating deliberate control over attention networks. Tools like timed focus intervals, known as ultradian cycles, align with the brain's natural rhythm, where we can maintain peak cognitive performance for about 90 minutes before needing rest. Understanding and using this rhythm can drastically improve the efficiency of focused work. Similarly, mental priming using brief visual or auditory cues before beginning a task can engage attentional circuits and prepare the brain for deep work. Even posture and physical orientation play a role. Sitting upright with the eyes slightly angled forward signals the brain to stay alert. Small behaviors like these can have a large impact on the brain's capacity to remain focused in a sustained, productive way, especially when practiced consistently. Visual targeting is one of the most overlooked yet powerful tools for enhancing focus. The human visual system is directly connected to the brain's attentional networks, meaning that where you look literally determines what your brain pays attention to. This connection is not metaphorical, it's hardwired. When you narrow your visual gaze on a single point or object, the brain begins to suppress peripheral distractions and engages circuits in the prefrontal cortex and parietal lobes that are responsible for sustained attention. In neuroscience, this is known as convergent focus, and it plays a critical role in helping us stay on task. Evolutionarily, this mechanism helped early humans track prey or detect danger in the environment. In modern life, the same system can be used to stay focused during work, study, or performance. Research shows that when the eyes are stable and directed at a fixed target, the brain receives a signal to quiet internal chatter and increase task-specific activation. This is especially important during high-stakes tasks where distraction can undermine performance. Athletes, military personnel, and surgeons are trained to use visual anchoring techniques to improve accuracy, reaction time, and mental clarity. Even just 2 to 3 minutes of directed visual focus can dramatically shift the state of the brain, reducing stress and increasing readiness, either great pain. One of the most effective exercises involves choosing a single object in your environment, dot on the wall, a pen, or a point on your desk, and maintaining a soft but unwavering gaze on it. During this process, your breathing naturally slows and your internal dialogue decreases as the brain enters a state of concentrated calm. Eye movements also influence brain states. Rapid saccades, quick eye shifts used when scanning a room or scrolling on a phone. Activate circuits associated with novelty and distraction. In contrast, slow, deliberate eye movements promote a state of calm vigilance, which supports deep focus. Studies in both animals and humans confirm that the visual system is not just a passive receiver of information, but an active driver of brain state. This means we can intentionally use our eyes to signal the brain to enter a more focused, less reactive state. Great pain. The practice of visual targeting becomes even more powerful when paired with breath work or goal setting, as the alignment of bodily systems sends a unified message to the brain. Pay attention here. Pain. Now, breathing is one of the few bodily functions that operates automatically, but can also be brought under conscious control, either great pain. And this dual nature a powerful tool for shifting mental states. When it comes to focus and readiness, specific breathing patterns can send immediate signals to the brain and nervous system, either to calm down, ramp up, or enter a state of sustained alertness. One of the most effective breathing tools for enhancing focus is known as physiological sighing, a double inhale through the nose followed by a long, extended exhale through the mouth. This pattern helps float carbon dioxide from the bloodstream, lowers stress levels, and resets the autonomic nervous system, creating the perfect internal environment for concentration. Just 1 to 3 cycles of this kind of breathing can significantly increase alertness while simultaneously decreasing feelings of overwhelm. Another powerful breathing technique involves the use of deliberate nasal inhales paired with focused exhales, either great pain, done at a slightly elevated pace. This kind of breathing increases adrenaline in a controlled way, which sharpens visual attention, quickens reaction time, and heightens sensory awareness. The increase in adrenaline is not the chaotic kind experienced during panic, but rather a clean, directed surge that primes the body for mental performance. These physiological changes happen within seconds, making breathing one of the fastest and most accessible tools available for managing mental focus. In contrast, shallow or erratic breathing can activate the sympathetic nervous system in a way that leads to scattered thoughts and heightened anxiety, great pain, which undermines the ability to concentrate. Focus is not just about eliminating distractions from the outside world. It's also about regulating the body's internal state so the brain can operate at its best. The diaphragm, which controls breathing, has rich connections to the vagus nerve. Pain, a key player in the parasympathetic nervous system. By learning to manipulate the breath, pain, we gain access to this system and can influence our cognitive and emotional state in real time. Pain, intentional breathwork practice before engaging in a high-focus task acts as a neurobiological switch, shifting the brain from a reactive mode into a mode of deliberate attention. This is why elite performers, from athletes to musicians to special operations soldiers, great pain, often begin their routines with a few moments of conscious breathing to center the mind and prepare the body. Dopamine is often misunderstood as simply the molecule of pleasure, but in truth, it is the molecule of motivation, drive, and reward anticipation. It plays a crucial role in the brain's ability to focus by acting as a chemical marker for what is important and worth pursuing. Great pain. When dopamine levels rise, the brain tags certain actions or goals as meaningful. Great pain, increasing the likelihood that attention and effort will be directed toward them. This makes dopamine a fundamental part of how we build and sustain focus. One of the key principles of leveraging dopamine is understanding that it responds more strongly to anticipation than to the actual reward. This means that breaking tasks into small, achievable goals and mentally rewarding progress along the way can keep dopamine levels steady and focus high throughout a work session or challenge. Pain. The brain's reward circuitry is deeply tied to the prefrontal cortex and the basal ganglia, which work together to select actions and suppress distractions. When dopamine is released in this system, it reinforces behaviors that are aligned with our goals. However, constantly seeking external rewards, like social media, likes, or quick entertainment, can desensitize this system. Great pain, leading to dopamine depletion and making it harder to feel motivated or focused. The solution is to create internal reward systems, celebrating small wins using positive self-talk, and even taking brief pauses to acknowledge progress can help maintain healthy dopamine levels without relying on external stimulation. Practices like journaling goals, visualizing success, or mentally rehearsing the outcome of focused work also boost dopamine in a way that supports long-term motivation. Movement can also play a role in activating dopamine. Simple physical actions such as standing up, walking briefly, or stretching, especially when done with intention, can stimulate the release of dopamine and reset focus. Timing is important too. Dopamine follows a natural rhythm throughout the day, peaking in the morning and tapering off later. Aligning difficult tasks with peak dopamine windows can enhance productivity. Nutrition and sunlight exposure also impact dopamine levels. Foods rich in tyrosine, the precursor to dopamine, either pain, and early morning light both help regulate this system. By understanding how to work with dopamine rather than against it, individuals can take greater control of their focus and motivation. This internal mastery becomes a powerful tool for navigating long-term goals and short-term tasks with resilience and clarity. The environment in which we work, pain, study, or think plays a direct and measurable role in our ability to focus. The brain is constantly scanning the surrounding space for cues, and these cues influence our internal state without us even realizing it. Visual clutter, noise, irregular lighting, and unstructured layouts can all trigger low-level stress responses that chip away at mental clarity. In contrast, a clean, structured, and intentionally designed environment signals safety and stability to the brain, allowing cognitive resources to be directed toward higher order thinking. Environmental design is not just about aesthetics. It's a functional approach to enhancing mental performance by creating spaces that align with the way the brain and nervous system operate. Great pain. One of the most powerful tools in environmental design is controlling visual input. Pain. When the eyes are exposed to a calm and uncluttered field of view, the brain receives fewer distractors and is better able to enter a focused state. This is why minimalist workspaces tend to support deeper concentration. Facing a wall or a blank space instead of a window or a busy room can reduce the number of visual stimuli and improve attentional stability. Lighting is another major factor. Exposure to natural light or artificial light that mimics the spectrum of daylight increases alertness and reduces eye strain, both of which contribute to longer and more productive focus sessions. Harsh lighting or dim, either great pain, uneven lighting can fatigue the visual system and send inconsistent signals to the brain, making it harder to stay engaged. Sound plays a significant role as well. Ambient noise, especially unpredictable sounds like conversations, traffic, great pain, or electronic alerts, activates the brain's orientation response and pulls attention away from the task at hand. Pain. Using white noise, instrumental music, or noise-canceling headphones can create an auditory buffer that protects focus. Either rate pain. Temperature and air quality are also important. A space that's too warm, too cold, or poorly ventilated can subtly drain energy and attention. Even the positioning of objects matters. When essential tools like notebooks, devices, or writing instruments are within arm's reach and arranged logically, the brain perceives the environment as more manageable and less chaotic. Great pain. This sense of control translates into a psychological readiness to engage deeply with tasks, fostering an internal mindset that is primed for focused effort and sustained attention. Mental rehearsal and visualization are powerful tools that elite performers use to prime the brain for focus, precision, and execution. The science behind this lies in the brain's inability to fully distinguish between a vividly imagined scenario and a real one. Great pain. When a person visualizes performing a task, whether it's giving a presentation, solving a complex problem, or staying focused during a long study session, the same neural circuits are activated as when actually doing it. This includes motor pathways, sensory regions, pain, and even the parts of the brain responsible for emotional regulation and reward. Either pain. The repeated use of visualization strengthens these neural pathways, making it easier for the brain to access them under real-world conditions. This process, known as neuroplasticity, is the reason why mental training can lead to measurable improvements in focus, confidence, and performance. Great pain. The key to effective mental rehearsal is specificity and immersion. Instead of vague imagery, the most effective visualizations include clear sensory details, what the environment looks like, what sounds are present. Great pain, what physical sensations arise, and even what internal thoughts might occur. This depth of detail enhances the brain's encoding of the imagined experience. Great pain, leading to stronger mental associations and a more prepared nervous system. Repeating this process regularly, especially right before engaging in the actual task, creates a kind of mental script that the brain can follow under pressure. Athletes, musicians, and special forces operators all use this technique to reduce mental fatigue, stay calm in high-stress environments, and execute with accuracy and focus. Visualization also works well when paired with intention setting. By mentally rehearsing the outcome and linking it with a clear purpose or internal value. The brain attaches greater importance to the task, pain, triggering the release of motivational neurochemicals like dopamine and norepinephrine. Great pain. This blend of mental imagery and emotional engagement forms a powerful foundation for deep, sustained focus. Another layer of effectiveness comes from incorporating breath control or posture alignment into the rehearsal process. Pain. When the brain experiences these physical states alongside visualized performance, it integrates them into a full body memory, making it easier to enter that state again in real life. Over time, and mental rehearsal becomes a form of cognitive conditioning, helping to eliminate internal resistance, reduce distractions and their pain, and create a more consistent mental landscape for focus and resilience under pressure.